Hello, I am Mary Beth Maestre. And like I've said before, God meets us where we're at, but loves us much too much to leave us there. And this applies to many of us. I'm sure we can all relate to that saying. And so I think my next guest can also apply to her life applies to those words. Her life journey, I think, has so far taken her far beyond her wildest dreams, where she came from and where she is today. So let me introduce you to my guest, Miss Donatilla Chun, and thank you so much for coming on the show, Miss Chun.
Welcome, Miss Maribeth.
Sure. Okay, Donatilla, I'll do it like I do with my other guests. Just ask for the viewers' sake, run down your history, where you were born, parents, brothers, sisters, if you had any. I think sisters. Your life in San Antonio, where you're gonna, I'm ahead of you, as well as your faith, what your faith was like. So let's go ahead and start with that.
Okay. First, I born in a small Mayan village in San Antonio, Toledo district. My parents are Louis Chun and Horace Hedgecock. I have 3 sisters. I'm the second child. And I attend my education. I attend San Luis Rey School, primary school in that village. So that's where I started my education.
What was your faith like? What was the faith of your parents, or like you're going to mention your grandmother? Tell me what your faith was like.
Okay, well, as a child, my mother and my grandmother, I believe they cheer me up. I begin to see that I grew between 2 homes, one with my mom and the other with my grandmother. And my mom would send me to church, but she would not go with me. And when I go with my grandmother, then she would dress up and go. We both go together. So later on, I attend the daily masses.
With your grandmother or by yourself?
By myself.
Okay.
Later on, I began to attend the daily masses. And the teacher would tell us as school children that it's good to go to mass because your book will full of stars.
Oh, okay. So you went and got a star put in your little book.
Exactly.
The book, okay.
Yeah. And then, and that would boost me up and encourage me to go because
sure.
I want all the stars.
Like any child at that age.
And then father, at the time was Father Cole, he would come with all different pendants, saints, pendants. Oh, I just love receiving them.
Those little medals.
Like little medals. You know, and I would put them on my necklace.
Sure.
You know, in those days there were people with all the children and the women, they have necklaces. It was natural to wear necklaces.
Like you do right now,
yes.
like the one you have on. Okay.
So
in your Mayan village, all the women wore necklaces.
Yes, they were. They had to use it. They
was
couldn't do it
part of your dress.
That's part of the culture, you know. And then I began to put them on my necklaces.
Your little medals.
Little medals. So, oh, this is pretty, you know. And that was when I was very young, very, very young. So I liked them, you know, but did not know really the value and the reason behind it, you know.
It's just but what we're going to see, viewers will see later on how this is going to play a role in what she does today.
Yes. So
you added the necklaces. So because you were going to a Catholic elementary school, so you were learning your faith.
Exactly.
But your grandmother was instrumental in part of that faith as well, huh?
Grandmother played a big role.
Big role,
She was, I like her a lot. She was a short woman, but very strict. She make sure she monitor me, that if I miss school, that if I late to school, Well, I was kind of mischievous.
Well, I can understand
I go and
that.
swim in the river. I said, no. She would come with a little stick. He said, you're going to lose all your education. You're going to lose what you're learning now. Get out of that water and put on your clothes and let's go. You know, she was so strict with me, you know, and I like that. I like her for that, you know. So I used to run, put on my clothes, but with other children, right? And they would run. You know, because I run away from her.
Oh, sure.
She's going to.
Because she had a
little branch of tree.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. So I humble my little self and put on my clothes and I go.
That's good.
So that was my upbringing, you know. So.
But she teaches you other things. Beside that faith, you said she's instrumental, well, disciplined, like you said, but to make tortillas and different things. She helped you to. She taught you other things of the culture.
Culturally, ancestral. Yes, you have to learn some skills. You have to learn how to feed yourself, but making tortillas. Art, embroidery, clay pottery making, basketry. She was an artist of her own. And then my mother too. She do a lot of embroideries, and she used to sew for people. My mom, she did a lot of sewing for people too. She had a little homemade, made machine, olden time. I don't see those machines anymore.
Right.
But it was so cute, you know. She even used to iron them, you know. She had a iron that she heat on the kamal. The iron.
Oh yes, you know? Well, we still have some of those around.
I see my mother using those things in those days. I say, so this is how it is.
How everything gets really nice and pressed out, all the wrinkles out of clothes.
My mom was into that area. I had a lot of clothes. I say, okay. I'm saying hello world at the same time because I don't know. You know, I'm learning.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so basically, and that, like you said, is part of the culture. You learn from a mother, you learn from a grandmother. So they're teaching you survival skills.
Exactly.
Basically is what you're looking at. They're teaching you how to feed yourself, so you learn to make tortillas. That's a necessity.
Exactly.
Now they're also to go out and because again, they come from ancestors before them of doing all these things. They're basket weaving. They're embroidering. That's a fine art.
It's an art.
And we're losing it slowly if they don't keep it up.
Exactly.
Because kids don't, the next generation, well, this is a couple generations later. I am sure they don't want to sit down and do this. Machines can do it these days. You just put these prints and machines do.
Yeah, it's changed a lot now
it's
from that time to this time.
To where we are today.
So it is it's very interesting, you know.
Okay, so your grandmother was instrumental. Now your father, you said he became a principal. Tell me a little bit about your father.
Well, my dad, he went to St. John's College in Belize City. And later on, I was told he was a school teacher and was a principal at the age of 20 to 25. And later on, he became an alcoholic. So he had to resign from his post.
So with that then, he didn't have the jobs that he once had as a teacher. So he kind of moved you all around. At the time, or when he moved you, was he still a teacher at the time, sometime?
No. Before all this, before he moved away was from the village, he even got a scholarship to go to study to England, Oxford University. But because of the alcoholic thing that he entered, that stopped him from develop himself. So he, with his education now, he wants to better himself with his family. So he moved us to Mango Creek.
Okay.
So he got a job there as working in with a company named Hercules. But I'm not too sure of what he was doing there. You know. And then later on, he moved us again and went to another place called Alabama. I don't know if that still exists today. But it's very close to Mango Creek.
I'm sure. I think it does.
It's so beautiful. The land was so beautiful. We used to do farming in the yard, you know, the tomatoes. with all these kalalu and these things, everything used to grow. I believe that earth, the land was so rich in soil.
At that time.
I used to like that little place, And then while my other sister was younger than me, she go and collect some lot of tomatoes in the bush. There was just abundant.
Just spreading, yeah. You planted and it just...
Planting and bananas, she come up with a lot of fruits coming home. And she was younger than me. I said, all these things are in abundance.
Yeah.
That's where we used to live in that place called Alabama.
But with that then, you weren't able to complete your primary school education, were you? With the moving around.
My education started at the Telera with San Luis High School in San Antonio, then went to Mango Creek. Then I entered a primary school they call St. Pius. It's a Catholic primary school as well. But I had to move again.
Yes, so that's taking you out to school once again and moving on. But in the meantime, viewers, she might not be getting her academic education, but you're certainly getting education in other skills. Like now you're getting education in farming, even how to grow and not only that, because you had to help your mother sell these things as well, these products.
Well, my dad, even though he's being alcoholic, he taught me how to plant rice, corn in the earth. How many space I have to make the holes in the earth. I have to space them and have to know how many seeds to put in the earth. He was kind of close to me in that field, wanted to teach me about farming.
Those things.
Because
there were no sons in the family.
There were no sons in the family. I was the only child at the time. I looked like they want me to hurry grow up.
They did. They needed help. Now, just remind me now, you'd had two sisters after you. Two sisters also besides you. And then you had an older sister who was like 5 years older than you, huh?
Yes.
Okay, so that was...
Well, my older sister, she was in Belize City working at the time. And while I was growing up, then my dad, my mom make sure that I have to help, in doing their messenger work. My dad would send me to his fellows worker to carry the message,
Whatever,
because the Mayan people now at the time, they used their children to carry the message.
Yeah, no telephones in those days.
No telephones and things. And that's how we grew up, and that was
You were runners.
Yes.
They call them runners. Okay, but life is going to get a little hard now at this time, and you're 14 going on 15, and you're watching things happening in the house. So tell me, sort of a pivotal point takes place in your life. What are you going to do next, watching this happening?
Well, growing up was kind of confusing to me, but at the same time, I was enjoying it. Why I say confusing? Because I grew up with 2 homes, like what I said. One spell I did with my mom and dad, then one spell I did with my grandmother. And then later on, I begin to see some kind of abusive in the home. And then the abusive was not healthy. So I made up my mind. I called my mom on the side. I told her that I will have to move out. I have to go to the city, go look for my sister, So I made a change.
A big change.
Yes. At the age of 15. I can't forget that.
15. Viewers, you hear that? At 15, she is going to leave San Antonio to come into the city of Belize. So that was a drastic change.
It is.
But you went to found your sister.
Yeah, finally I know where my sister was and is at the time, and I arrive in the city. I find her and I tell her, well, this is the reason why I appear here, why I come here, and I want you to help me locate a job. So she was never hesitate to say, okay, well, look one for you. Was happy to help me. you know, and she, at that time then she was working with the family named Carl Isles in Belize City, on Barracks Road, you know. Anyway, she started searching jobs for me until I find one.
I found, okay. Now, in the meantime, your mother's going to come back and forth for a while to...
While I stay in the city, my dad seems to want to know where I am, you know, and then he actually sent my mother to locate me. First, my mom didn't find me because I was in George's Key with my sister, because my sister's husband was a fisherman at the time. I didn't know all this was taking place, and she went back. Something happened again, something that was unhealthy to her
well-being,
and then she came back and visit my sister and looking for me at the same time. So she told me the reason why, and I said, no, you're not going back. You know, and me and my sister made up our mind to keep her. And with the other two sisters, okay, you have to stay here, you're not going back. You know, because I want her to see a different way of life, you know.
And it's safe for her safety and for the safety of your two sisters. Okay, Donatella, we'll have to stop there. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, viewers, we'll continue on Donatella's story. So as we can see, she's left this little town of San Antonio, little village of San Antonio, come into the big city, Belize City, had to do major adjustments, but we're going to see how she's going to do that. We'll be right back.
What would you say is now the #1 cause of death in the African American community?
Heart disease,
HIV/AIDS,
diabetes, cancer,
gang violence.
What if I told you the real answer was abortion?
Since 1973, legalized abortion has killed more Black Americans than AIDS, cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and violent crimes combined. Learn more at blackdignity.org.
Welcome back, viewers. So we're going to now continue on Donatella's story. As you can see, she left San Antonio at 15 years old, gets on a truck into the city, this big Belize city. We think it's small, but to someone coming from San Antonio village, you've got to understand the culture shock she had to have gone through. So here she is now with her family, and her mother has finally come, and she's reunited with her mother and sisters and has encouraged them to stay. So I'm sure you're quite happy that now you have your mother and sisters with you. And so you're going to also, your first real job, I mean, you had other jobs, but they were sort of live-in jobs. So what was that first job you got?
Well, the first job I ever held was the Williamson Industry.
That's sewing clothes.
The sewing factory.
The sewing factory. Some people may not remember it. The Williamson Sewing Factory, which was up at mile 8 or something like that, on the Northern Highway.
Yeah. It's a big factory. It's a lot of people, about 800 people or 1,000 people being employed there. So I was always eager to get a new job. I was always eager to learn more about the job that I don't know, you know. And it was interesting for me. I was being taught and trained how to use those industrial machines.
Yes.
So I used to be the one that put on it in blue jeans packet.
Okay.
They used to give us by the bundle, and we have a full lady that comes and supervises us every half an hour, I guess, and to see if we are producing quality, and if not, we have to fix that and keep us back. When we fix a mistake, we keep us back.
Sure.
So because until we have finished and sew certain bundles, we begin to earn more, put more salary on top of what we are being paid for. So I used to getting I used to feel good of getting more extra on my pay. And when time payday come, I collect more.
there.
And I was happy.
And of course, you wanted this money because you wanted to help support your mother
Yes.
and younger sisters.
My mind was thinking on my mother
Mother,
and two sisters,
sure.
at the time.
Where is your faith at this time?
My
You know, you were back in San Antonio. You're going to school in primary school. You're going to get those stars. Going to church as much as you can to collect your little stars. Where is your faith now? You're about what, 19, 18, 19, 20 years old at this time?
now I'm about 19 to 20.
19 or 20 years. Uh-huh.
There's nothing much about praying and, that, which I can remember my grandmother at home in Toledo. She prayed to Blessed Mother and Blessed Mary. She would light a candle, and bless her home soon in the morning. That's what I see my grandmother doing, She remembered to pray.
But were you doing any of those things?
At present?
No, then.
No.
No.
I was a child then.
Yeah. You
But I am observing her, lighting her candle to Mother Mary, have the picture of Mother Mary on the table, and coming with her big incense pot. She believed in a lot of incense, blessing the home and the yard. Soon in the morning, about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, as she does, pray. That's how I grew up with my grandmother.
Seeing that. But I suppose looking back now, you can see that and I view as I can say, understand this, you're so busy just surviving at this time, huh? Just surviving that your faith isn't big on the list of things to do, huh? You just have to get up and get to work.
Exactly. I didn't. Well, you have most people that I listen to their discussions sometimes, that they do novenas and they do this praying with the family and like that. But my one was so different.
Yes, your life was different.
So later on, I didn't know the value of my faith at all, which I was being baptized and confirmed by my parents. But when that rushing for move out, that was absent.
Yes, sure.
Okay,
so you're still at Williamson's, but you're going to do something about your education. Tell me about that.
I'm getting older now. I begin to think about life. I don't know how long I'll be living on the earth. So I say, it's time for me to get my education, see how far I know, see how far I can go. So I register myself St. John's Extension night school, one of the prestigious night school in those days. And I would go to work at 7 o'clock in the morning, finish 3 o'clock, go to school 4 o'clock.
Oh my goodness.
7 o'clock I'm finished. That was up there, and I've been working at a shop at the night with some Chinese stores at the night. I started work at 7 o'clock. I finished 7, about 7:30 I go to work. By 9 o'clock I stop work. Then I go home, I knock out.
My goodness, and up again for the next day. To catch a bus, because they come in on a bus to
we had a bus
to take you out
picking
to
us up on the road in those days. Each one of the city area have some different buses. That is how I
that was
earn my education. I work and I pay for my
paid
education.
for it yourself.
And I'm glad I did it.
Of course. Of course, sure.
Because I don't think going in another place, not really learning anything. If I'm going to live in a little village, coming to a big city, I want to know more about history, about the culture,
everything, sure.
and things around me. So that was one of my field at educating my mind.
Because let's look for a minute now. If you were raised with the Mayan. Your language was Mayan.
Yes.
Mayan Mopan. You said in San Antonio. That's what everyone spoke.
Yes.
But you went to school, and then at school you learned English. Okay.
Right.
English. Then you're going to learn Spanish as well.
Well, I tell you, my first language was Maya. At home we speak Maya. Then in school we were taught English, and Spanish. I have no knowledge about Spanish language. I was fortunate to go work in San Pedro and Burgess Key. And I met a family, the Passes family. And their language is Spanish.
Spanish. Yeah.
And they kind of like do me a favor, and like they kind of force me, which I thank them for it.
Yes.
I learned the Spanish there, you know, and later on I begin to get into the language more by radio, by music.
Listening to it.
I would buy a cassette and play them. I played slow and so I could understand the meaning of the song.
The words.
Because listening to a language that you don't know is confusing. So I thank them for that family. You know, every day they would talk to me in Spanish.
In Spanish.
You have to learn to talk
Well,
Spanish.
that was, yes, because lots of time, well, plus, no, that was very good because you could have spoken to them in English and they understood English. But it was nice that they forced you to learn that language,
that's what I'm saying.
Spanish. Yeah,
They
definitely.
I look at it that their first language was Spanish.
Over there. Yeah.
So the English would come in second for them. They're not too...
Okay, I see. So they needed you to learn Spanish.
Yes. you know.
Okay, let's move on. So you're going to have another pivotal point in your life. You come back from San Pedro and you get reacquainted with a lost friend.
I met this fellow one time, my children's father, no? And I didn't know his character first, you know, but I told him, well, we could become friends. But later on, he began to think that I should be more than a friend, you know, become intimate. So I tell my mom about this. She said, well, you have to think about getting married, you know, because it's not good to live in just like that with a man, you know. So he had to make an agreement with my mother, because my mother was the head of the house at the time. So he agreed, and then he moved in with us, and he get serious and start to buy the rings for preparation for marriage. But I was not smart enough at the time too. So I begin to see his true character. He began to like stay out late, come home late, and showing me disrespectful things which he shouldn't do, you know. And I would talk to him, and he would laugh at me and like take it like what? Like you're not doing something that is not right. He would go away and come back the next time, and you'll forget it, and then, you know, go on with your life.
All over again.
I said, no, not at all. I'm so different. I said, no, I believe in respect. I believe in respect. If you don't respect me, well, we got to separate.
Okay.
You know.
So that's what happened, huh? You separated. But by the time you separated, you had your first child.
Yes.
Your son.
I had a son. He's Felix Peralta. And my other child, I was pregnant with my second child, a girl. And she, her name was Mona Lisa at the time, and I was not even thinking what awaiting me as to be a single parent.
Mother. Yes, I
know?
could imagine. So that could not have been easy. He helped support for a little while, he said, huh?
Yeah.
But then...
He did support for a little while. But that slowed down. But I didn't take it as it's okay, you have your way and it's okay to be with me. No way.
You kept after him.
No. I don't believe in that anymore, because we are responsible people now, you know. A baby doesn't come in the world and then become irresponsible and make the child raise himself. No. So as a mother, I had to stand up and fight for the child rights.
Sure.
So I had to bring him to the social welfare. That's where it started. So he contributed
towards
for those children and support them properly.
Okay. Viewers, I want you to notice the courageousness of this woman as well. She's not the average person that's going to just sit down and take what's given to her. She gets up and fights for things when she wants something. Huh? So be aware of that. And that is why she is where she is today. Okay, we continue on now. Your children are older, and you say they start going to Holy Redeemer. And this is when you start coming back to Mass, at least?
After my children then born, well, I become a parent now. I become responsible for them now. I'm responsible for keep them and to teach them about life. So I enrolled them in the Holy Redeemer School, both of them. And I would take them to Mass in the morning, on Sunday morning, and after that we go to ice cream. That was like a routine for us.
Yes, yes.
You know, and I make them happy, you know. We went to Mass, and after that we go get ice cream, you know, and both of them, and I baptize them and confirm them in the Catholic
Church.
So I believe I'm responsible for them.
For that, huh?
You know.
Okay, let's move on. So you have other jobs. So you have jobs as you're a social worker. You said you're a librarian. You even taught for a while at Bernice York School, and you are part-time at Go Graphics with screen printing. Okay, we're going to have to stop there at this point. So we'll take a break, viewers, and when we come back, we'll continue on Donatella's story. Be right back.
What would you say is now the #1 cause of death in the African American community?
Heart disease,
HIV/AIDS,
Diabetes, cancer,
gang violence.
What if I told you the real answer was abortion?
Since 1973, legalized abortion has killed more Black Americans than AIDS, cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and violent crimes combined. Learn more at blackdignity.org.
We're back, and we'll continue now on Donatella's story, and we're going to see the different jobs she gets that's going to lead her to where she is today. So she's had several. That Williamson job helped her a lot with the sewing. She'd learned already some of the cultural arts from her grandmother, embroidering, pottery, different jobs. But so Donatella is going to go into her own business after trying different jobs, like I mentioned, even teaching at Bernice York's and social work she did for a while, librarian, screen printing, different jobs she had. Now she's going to go on, with the experience she's had, she's going to go into her own job. So tell me about that. What made you decide to move into an independent world of creating your own items?
Well, it's a good question. I was doing the embroidery already on clothing, and going marketing my art. I used to work along with my mom. I used to tell her, let us do this and do that, you know. And she was young at the time, very young, and she liked to do a lot of embroidery too. And me and her worked together. Then along came my youngest sister, involved her in there. And I would go and market the work, you know. But one day I met a man named Mr. Elton Jones from the Chamber of Commerce. Now he already passed away. He was the president of those agencies, you know, for Belize Chamber of Commerce. So because I even used to work for him too in sewing.
Yes.
I used to sew T-shirts for him. So he came to me and said, well, I know you are involved with artwork and embroidery. I said, I'm going to New Orleans, then I would want you to see if you have any artworks I could carry it and showcase in New Orleans. I said, sure. So I already have some things ready, and these are like children clothes and shirts and dress and so with all embroideries. And he took it and he sold all.
Sold it all.
He sold it all at the exhibition in New Orleans.
In New Orleans, okay.
So he came back to me and said, I sold all your art, So I was giving me his commission. He said, no. As I believe in giving somebody a commission because it's a business, but he was promoting business in Belize, of Belize. So he would not accept it.
Well, that was sweet of him.
And he even have his own business of screen printing, And that was my first exposure of my art.
Okay. So that's going to start you off, huh?
That really drive me to another level.
Yes.
So that there is some money in this art.
In this business,
right. So that is how I get started in my business now. So
then you're going to meet a Peace Corps?
Later on now, I was going through Bliss Institute where they do a lot of arts and things, and I saw a Peace Corps volunteer working on an exhibit, but pertaining to my culture. I said, something is happening here and I like this, So I introduced myself to her and, you're a native of that village? I said, yes. She said, come here, make me meet up with some more of the members, And then later on, I had to travel to the village, then go back and introduce myself because most of these people are Mayas and some of them don't know me because some of them are younger than me now.
And you had left.
And
you
I
had left that village.
I had left. But when I talk the language to them, they feel like that's no problem, So I start working for them. So I get a training from the Peace Corps people in managing the bookkeeping and marketing and doing banking.
But this was marketing the products that these women produced,
yes,
which was
yes.
all the basket work, the basket weaving, the embroider, jewelry, all these things.
Yeah, because they were trying to organize a group promoting and reviving the Mayan cultural arts.
Okay.
So it was kind of a problem for them to know the way to do marketing. So that's how I entered the group by marketing their product.
Helping to do that.
Yes.
So that's going to lead you from there. It's going to lead you to people start to recognize you as doing this, and you're going to be asked to travel. Huh? So you're going to travel to all different places.
Well, because of my involvement with this group, I had to do a lot of traveling, and then later on, people of different institutions get to know what I really working for, promoting these and Mayan cultural products of the day. And it was so interesting for those people who are in the media too. And they were looking for like stories of the day, and I didn't know that because I thought this is just voluntary, I don't get a big salary doing this.
To do any of these things, right?
No.
So this is working along with the women's development, huh?
Well, later on, yes, because then I realized that I started to work with two communities, two villages. One was men, with the Kekchi men of Krikisarko, and one was women of San Antonio, the Mopan people. I find myself working with these communities. I say, wow, I find myself a lot of work.
And it's all volunteer.
It's volunteer. Yeah. And then I talk to the Peace Corps, this is a lot of work. They say, don't worry, say you will get something, So I was not looking to a big pay because these women are like people in the community.
Sure.
And Peace Corps had worked out something like percentage for my salary. If I sell $1,000 for them, I only get $100. That is not happening every week.
Yeah.
So I was satisfied with that. So that is how I work with the women's group.
The women. But that's gonna then also the women's development. But that's gonna take you to like places like Trinidad and Jamaica and Puerto Rico. And
okay. This invitation I got from different organizations come from the church. the Catholic Church. Some come from the cultural organizations.
Okay.
You know, I get invited from the church because I remember Father Panton was in Belize in those days gone by, and he called me up and tell me, asked me about my work, and I explained to him what am I doing, you know, at the time, and so he invited me to be a part to go to an NGA meeting in Trinidad. That is how I get started with the church.
To go in there.
Because the church were looking for women who were developing communities. I was not aware of those things in those days, but
you went anyway to represent.
I went.
To not only Belize, but you're representing the Mayan culture of Belize.
Well, at the time, they were wanted a woman who was really working with groups, not playing around with groups, not promoting their work, you know. So I believe that with the contribution and length of time and the activities that I bring up to the city, because I have to travel with those women, so I become known to the city people.
Sure, not everyone,
you know, and the church were looking for women in the region, in the area. So I just get invitations to be a part of the AGM, the assembly, General Assembly meeting. So I just accepted it, you know, but that opened doors for me.
Sure. But now that you're working with the church, are you coming, you're back to church because you're going with your children. But now that the church is involving you, are you getting at least a little deeper in your faith? You're still going to church on Sundays with taking your kids. You're still doing that.
Oh yes, I would not leave that. You know, that is how I have to teach my children. But at the same time, I start to do voluntary within the Holy Rima Church. You know, I used to sing in the choir.
Okay.
I used to volunteer in the bazaar.
Okay.
You know. But still yet, I was not
deep into
not too deep in it.
Into your
you
faith.
know.
Okay. As we can see, because we're going to have something happen to Donatilla now to see where her faith takes her now. So let's go on to that story of when you're walking on the streets and you heard that music.
Okay. Going to this area in Belize City downtown, I was by
I think
the church, the place name, the clinic.
The clinic, okay.
Robert Health Center.
Matron Robert?
Matron Robert Health Center. I was
okay.
around that area. And I heard music. I heard some people playing music and singing. He says, I like this, you know, and I like this, and I follow the people. I follow the noise, you know, until I find where is the center of this noise coming from.
Music coming,
And I see a group of people singing and playing. Oh, I just love this, you know. And that was, I feel so different. I want to stay with this group of people, you know. And later when I find myself going to the Central of God Church, because they are where they come from.
So they were part of, hear this, viewers, they were the Central Assembly of God players or
team. A singing team.
And they were in this empty lot.
Yeah.
So they were doing their form of evangelizing
yes.
by playing music and speaking of God, and they got you. And you
the Spirit
joined.
touched me. I believe the Spirit touched me.
Touched you and
you
joined
me.
them. Huh?
This is where I actually went and stand up and enjoy this music. You know, like I just really get to me the music.
That's what caught you.
The music,
yes.
I tell you. And that was the beginning of my
leaving the Catholic faith and joining the Central Assembly.
Well, I was not even thinking that I'm going to leave the Catholic faith. Okay. And I was just looking at a different angle of worshiping God.
Okay.
But then later on, I stopped going to the Catholic Church and Mass for no reason at all. So I said, you know what? I tell a friend, I said, you know, Catholic Church is the best. So I said, well, that's what you say, you know. But if the Spirit tells me to go, I will go. And if the Spirit come back and tell me go back, I will go back to. I will listen, but I don't know when.
It's not telling you just then. In fact, it didn't tell you for about 12 years. For about 12 years, you stayed with the Central Assembly of God. And you were getting filled.
Yeah,
you were going to retreats and programs, and you felt the Spirit. But after about 12 years, it starts to decline. You're feeling sort of just going down, and you're not feeling as fulfilled as you once did.
It's so different, no? That I learned praising and worshiping God, That's a beautiful thing to do and know, because it's in the Psalm and in the Bible, you can find it. But things begin to happen to me, and I start to burst out with headaches, and I just feel I'm out of place, like I needed to talk to someone, and I was filled with headaches, and I was at my little gift shop at the water taxi then at the time, and I went to look for a church, and the church my spirit leads me to is the Holy Redeemer.
It didn't lead you to Central Assembly.
No.
It led you to Holy Redeemer.
It leads me to Holy Redeemer.
You needed someone to talk to.
Yes. That I needed to tell what is bugging me to someone, So I went to the church, and after the Mass, I looked for the priest. And the priest was Father Cayetano. I told him what was bugging me in my head. So he didn't hesitate at all. He told me, come this way here. Let me pray for you. And he gets some holy oil and anoint my head. And I tell you, it was like a relaxation I get from that priest and the oil. That's how it started, So from that,
and you said that was in 2016. So that's not too long ago.
No.
So that's in 2016. But because of that, you have come back to your faith.
I begin to see the whole picture begin to change, because I begin to come to the Divine Mercy then. And what caught my attention is the Holy Eucharist.
Okay.
And that Holy Eucharist became very special to me.
So I can stop here and say the Holy Eucharist led you back home.
I believe that. Yes, it's nothing to play with. It's very serious. Because I can always recall, if the Holy Spirit calls me to come back to the Catholic, I will come back. I will never say no. It took me 12 years to come back. I didn't know the time, I learned the time. No.
There's no time in God's plan.
Well,
it doesn't matter.
That's what happened. But I was hit by a headache, and I needed to talk to somebody. Like somebody who is a priest or somebody who is close to know about God.
Yes.
Because I couldn't tell my story to anybody who doesn't know knowledge about God and things. Because
all right, but then also you, a couple other things. I think at that time you also joined CHIRP. We've spoken about CHIRP before. Remember, CHIRP is Christ Renews His Parish.
Okay.
So you joined them, and that's going to help you. We're starting to wind down now.
Okay.
So we just go through.
As I came back to the Catholic faith, I entered into a big rosary thing here at Marianne Jones.
The Rosary Crusade. That was in 2000. I
was invited, and I said a prayer in the Mayan language. In the Hail Mary, and I began to go to other levels in the Christian faith, and I ask and I pray to God every time when I want something, and He answers me, and so it's to another level of joining this group, the Christ in His Parish. That's where I learn more about.
You learned so much.
But my faith, they highlight you more about the purgatory, about the baptism, about the daily masses, and so many things they teach. There is so much to learn about your faith in the Catholic Church.
In fact, we never stop learning.
It's a beautiful
We
thing.
never stop learning, no matter how old we get. And if we were to wake up 24 hours a day and try to learn our faith, we'll never cover it all.
That's the beauty I
beauty
get
of it.
from getting to know God.
Okay, so you come back to the faith now. You're going to Divine Mercy Church. You're coming to Mass on Sundays, praying the Rosary. You've come to understand Mary. Not daily.
I look at the Rosary with the word rose, you know.
Lovely.
And for me, it sounds like a flowers, you know, but then I wanted to know more. And I began to do some research about the Mother Mary. And I came across in the Guadalupe and the Fatima. You know, I read more about Fatima with the 3 children, you know. And that's something beautiful. I said to myself, Mary is the mother of Jesus Christ. And other churches don't give credit to Mother Mary. Well, I tell you, we couldn't do it without Mother Mary.
Without her.
Because Mother Mary was chosen by God. She was not an ordinary woman. So if she appeared in Fatima with those children, then so be it.
Okay, so definitely, you're definitely learning more, and in fact, you're doing it a second time, huh? Christ Renews His Parish.
Yes.
You're doing it a second time,
cycle.
and this is what happens. A lot of people go the first time and get so much out of it, they repeat it again, which is a weekend retreat and then a 6-month formation. Okay, and in just finishing off now, your children, you have a boy and a girl, you said. So your son is here with you?
I had 2 children, and they are all grown up now.
Sure.
My son still lives home with me. He's an instructor in tennis. My daughter, she got married and live abroad.
Okay.
Then I have 4 grandchildren and 2 great-grand.
Oh, wonderful. and so again, your family, you're very close still with your mother, your sisters, all of you.
My mother is so close to me. I like to pray for her. Okay, she would say, oh, I have this pain and I have this pain. I say, Mother, let me come and pray for you. I take the holy water, anoint her head, or wherever she have the pain, I would use the holy water. This is a medicine. It's what God said. Jesus said in the Bible.
Spiritual medicine.
Yes, Jesus said, do all things in my name. If He says so, it's going to be so.
It's going to.
So why are you having pain? You have to pray and ask God for healing. You know, God says so. God heals everything and everybody if you ask for it. So that's the beauty
of the family together.
Of having your faith and praying for your family. Okay,
and your business, of course, is thriving. You do have a booth behind Mirab, you said?
Okay, and presently I have a small business. I name it Ish Tila's Creation. Ish means feminine in my language. And Tila come from my name. Donatilla.
Ish, so Ish means?
Ish means woman.
Okay, Ish, Tila, and Creations.
Ish Tila's Creations.
All right, and this is booth number 4 behind Mirab. So if anyone wants to see some of her products, which we do have displayed on the table, we have some of the basket work there. We have some woodwork. We have her jewelry. She does her jewelry, which is different, and she has a lot more than this. So this is her jewelry here. I'll put that there. And I'll show you a few things here. She does tapestry. This is embroidery. Embroidery tapestry here, we have that. And let's go on from there. We have a man's shirt, but again with that embroidery work that we have there. Can we take that one from me? And down here we have these lovely bags. So this is all hand embroidered here?
Handmade,
All
embroidery.
all embroidered there.
It's not a machine.
Okay. Because machines can do it. This is it.
Yes.
Machines can do these
Yeah.
things. But this is hand, but done by hand. Huh?
Yeah.
So wonderful. So this is all the different work we have. All right. And there are other, she's been recognized in one of these little, this was put out by the library. And she was here recognized by, as one of the, what we call them? Pillars. Pillars of Belize. There we go. Ms. Donatilla Chun, by this little book that was put out by the library. So she's been recognized in that. She's been recognized by Tourism Board.
BTB.
The Belize Tourism Board. I have to laugh because she brought here, and I'll show it quickly. She received a certificate, Belize Tourism Board, for completed workshop, tourism education workshop for teachers. And she pointed out to me, because that's what I was. I used to be a hospitality trainer, and my signature, so I gave her that course. I think that. So this was nice to see. All right. So viewers, we've come to the end of this journey of Donatilla's, that, like I said in the beginning, took her way beyond your wildest dream. As a little girl in San Antonio, I don't think she ever dreamt that she would end up in Belize with the life she led from that once she arrived here. But look where God has been with her. I always ask for Bible verses, and I pulled out the one, Joshua 1, verse 5. It said, "No one will be able to stand up against you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will never leave you or forsake you." And that's for sure. She didn't know it, but God never left her and never what's the word? Forsake her. No, she was never forsaken. Let's put it that way. She was never forsaken by God. So as we wrap up, we see God's presence with her, even when she was not aware of Him being there with her. So as usual, we close with a prayer. And do you have something short? That's short prayer that in Mayan. I've asked Ms. Tun, because that was something we didn't mention. Ms. Tun writes prayers and poems in English and in Mayan. So just a few closing prayers, very short prayer in Mayan.
Well, I like the Hail Mary, but unfortunately I couldn't locate it. But I will say, glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and the Holy Spirit in Maya.
Okay, sure. Please go ahead.
So, I will make sign of the cross. You can see it in which. The tat, to me gente Santo Dios. Dios, and tat tikaan. Dios, Santo Pishan. Dios tula kalish tikaan. Tans ekesh tivik yokol kab. But tiktesh taneshat ek tivik. You can see it in which. Kabain tat, kalamahin Santo Dios.
Holy Spirit. Amen. Oh, that was lovely. I didn't understand the word, but I knew what it meant. Oh, God, glory be to the Father, the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. Amen. Yeah. So, thank you. Thank you, Donatilla, for being here with us. Thank you for sharing this wonderful journey of yours with us.
You're welcome.
Thank you to viewers for being here. I hope something of Donatilla's story will touch you somewhere along the line, especially you women out there who think you don't have the ability or the courage to stand up and do things for yourself. Donatilla is a perfect example of not letting things pull her down, but always rising up above them. Thanks to our cameramen, Louis and Mark. And as usual, I'll thank Tom Peterson. The commercials, the evangelicals that come on this show are produced by Tom Peterson. So I like to thank him for his show, which is Catholics Come Home, that can be seen on EWTN. God bless you. God loves you. Bye now.